Hello, this is Dr. Faught again, and the purpose of this talk is to go through the steps in using Microsoft OneNote. And to do this, I'm going to be using a stylus, so it may look a little strange when I start writing on the screen. Microsoft OneNote is very useful in getting forms into the PC Generic Aims form. So I'm going to start by showing you where the PC Generic Aims form is located, start by showing you where OneNote is located. And the easiest way to find it is down in your icon tray, or if it's not installed there, you can look in your computer and get it from the Microsoft Outlook bundle, as it is usually bundled with most of the Microsoft products on your computer. So I'm going to open it that way, but you could easily click on this little icon over here right there. I'm going to go ahead and open it through the Start menu. Oops, sorry. I go to Microsoft Office, and then Microsoft OneNote has a little N there. And I'll have to tell you that most of what I've learned about Microsoft OneNote, I pretty much learned on my own. I'm going to go over just a few things again about the stylus if I can, just because it's very helpful to you when you use this particular program, because you are going to be using a stylus, and those are the that you need to consider training the stylus. And to do that, what I did first, since I'm left-handed, I went ahead and switched this to left-handed, and it's important in Microsoft OneNote. You can also set OneNote up to help you do left-handed things, but I always have the tablet and pen settings set for left-handed, and the menu location on the left hand. And then you also want to calibrate it. So to do that, you have the option of calibrating in portrait and landscape, and really it should be done in both. So I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick. And what you do is use your stylus to punch the middle of the little crosshairs, which is what I'm doing right now. And I've saved it. And then if you go to landscape, you need to make sure that you're actually in that you're punching the buttons with it in landscape mode, because it does matter, because you're going to be right or left-handed, obviously. And I've turned the computer before I've said OK or pushed the calibrate button. So I'm going to fix that. So I'm turning the computer so that I'm actually looking at it in landscape mode, because, as I said, I'm left-handed, and you want it to look like what you're going to use it in. And all I'm doing right now is pushing the buttons. And it's moving. And I'm going to save it. So now we're calibrated. That's going to take us back to portrait mode, which is where we started, because I am wanting it to be in portrait mode. Again, there are some other settings you can use if you'd like to. And then there's the option of, and again, this gives you a preview if you want to see what it looks like. Primary portrait. Okay. These are the tablet buttons, and we went over these when we were going through the tablet PC functions, and there's really not much any different here. I'm not going to change anything that I've already done, but you have the option of changing what these buttons do, and you certainly could do that if you knew you were wanting to use them. And then the pin options, I like to use the pin button to right click. There's the little gray area on the side of the pin is the right click. If you press down, it'll right click, and that's going to be important when we actually start using this. And then use the top of the pin to erase where available, and that's going to be important in Microsoft OneNote as well. So I'll leave those checked, and I think you should too. And I'm going to change the orientation where I don't have to keep turning my computer, so it's going to click over here in just a second. Alright, and I hope this doesn't mess up our Camtasia picture, but we'll see in the end whether it does or not. Now, the good thing about OneNote is it gives you an introduction to OneNote if you choose to use it, and you can access that by hitting the help button and looking up the various topics in OneNote help. I've deleted some of the files that came with it, or at least I've deleted the tabs, so you won't be able to see all of them. Because again, I'm just going to show you a couple of things in the program and how you use it. Across the top, I'm going to try and show you all of these. Across the top, there are little tabs at the top that I've already labeled, and the first one I've labeled as Maps because it has all my Maps tools in it. You also can see these over on the side: meeting notes, maps, unfiled notes, and this is a repository for anything that you send to Microsoft OneNote. This is the first place it shows up. So if you sent something and you can't find it, most of the time if you just click on unfiled notes, it's trying to get me to change the name and I don't want to do that, you will be able to see it here listed on the side. Sometimes it says untitled. In my case, most of these untitled are things that I haven't filed yet. If you choose to file something, you just simply put your stylus pen on it and you can drag it to where you want to put it. Say for example I put it in travel this time. And I don't see it yet. I might have dropped it. Let's see if it shows up. There it is. I just didn't do a good job the first time. So that's one option. Let's click on the Maps one. And in this you'll see that I've basically put a lot of consents. Now I could have relabeled this consents, but I was planning on putting other things about maps in here besides consent forms, and it just turns out that most of what I've used it for are consent forms. I'm going to close this side menu so you can see what I'm working with here. And basically what I've done is I've downloaded some consent forms into this folder. Now let me show you how you do that. Let's say you have a document that you would like to put in Microsoft OneNote, and it really could be anything. If I go simply to my documents, and let's say in this case I already have this file in here, but if I wanted to pick any one of these documents, I'm going to pick my uses CV, for example, and just open this, and you print it into Microsoft OneNote. So this is my CV. If I go here and say I want it to print, one of my options here, since I have this program installed, is always going to be Microsoft OneNote. And let's see if we can find it. there. So it says send to OneNote 2007. So if I click on that and hit OK, in just a second this is going to open up in OneNote. So it's doing it right now. And we know, if you notice, the place it dumps it is in the unfiled tray, and it says untitled. If I want to put my title here, I can simply hit my I type CV just for brevity, but I put it up here. Now it's listed as my CV, and I can either keep it in the unfiled tray or send it wherever I want to send it. I just did this for purposes of showing you how easy this is. So if you have a PDF file or anything like that that has a consent form that you want to use, or anything else that you think that you might put in a patient's chart, like a sick slip or something like that, then you can send it to OneNote. Now I will say this, forms that you get off the forms page at AHLTA don't work with Microsoft OneNote. They import as a type of an image that can't be viewed, so I would save them as a PDF or print them as a PDF, and you can do that the same way I just did, but just print it to PDF Creator, which we'll see in just a minute. And then you can send them to Microsoft OneNote. So let's go back to the Maps folder, and I just want to show you some stuff. Now, in this particular consent form, I'm just going to center it where you can see it. What I'm doing now is just using my stylus and scrolling up with a scroll bar. You can see that we've already typed in information in the consent form, and I've really already signed this. Well, if you want to get rid of it, you just use the top of your stylus as an eraser. You see the little eraser icon, and press on it, and it gets rid of what you typed. It's a pretty effective tool there. And I've gotten rid of the patient's name. So let's say we consent somebody for a vasectomy, and I'm using my stylus now, and I can do this in the room, and I've done it already on several occasions. You just call up this consent form in Microsoft OneNote. You have the patient read over the consent form, and I put my name here, Dr. Falk, and a none under the appropriate block. I have the patient read the consent form, and then I sign here, and then the patient will sign here. I'm not very good at inventing names. If you choose, you can also put the patient's name, FMP, Social Security, date of birth at the bottom. This is going to be copied into the Add Notes section of the PC Generic Aims form, so it's already going to have the patient's name on there. But for completeness sake, if you want to, you can put the information down here. Alright, so where do you go from here? Well, you have the form like you want it. You go up to File, and you go to Print. Now, there are several options here in your printer folder, so you just go over to the one that says PDF Creator. And again, you can do this with any form to make it a PDF. And you just push print, and it'll take a minute because PDF Creator now has to load. And this is the form. That's what it looks like. Well, how do you get the PDF creator in the note? Well, in my toolbar at the top, you'll see there's a little camera here that's highlighted right now. This camera will take a screenshot of whatever you highlight. Let me show you how you get the camera, because it's not typically in a toolbar. You have to add it. You go down to Customize Toolbars, and you really have to go down to the very bottom to find this tool. And it took me a good while to find it, even though I knew it was here. There it is. It says Snapshot Tool. It's checked in mine, but it's not going to be in most people's toolbar when they first open PDF Creator. So you have to go down here and check it. But once you do, it'll always show up. So there it is. So all you do is push on it. And then up here at the top of using the top of the form, and you can start anywhere that it's going to get all the information. Just draw a square with your stylus pen that covers the entire form, and it'll highlight blue, and it's been copied. It is now in your clipboard. And so what we're going to do now is close this out, or at least minimize it, and go to, I've got a lot of stuff open here, go to CTS, but in your case, in reality, what you'd go to is AHLTA, but I'm going to go ahead and open CTS up. And I'm doing all this with a stylus pen, by the way, which is a pretty handy tool. So we're opening it. Now, in reality, you would already have the note open if you were talking to a patient about doing a procedure. But I didn't think about that. Didn't have it open before we started. So we'll open Alexander because it's already open. We'll try to open it. There we go. It's coming. So we go to the Add Note section, which, remember, it can accept an unlimited number of variables. And again, with the stylus pen, if you'll push on the little gray button on the side, that's your right-click tool, and that's what I'm doing. Let's get away from that. You go down to Paste, and there you are. So now the consent form is in the patient's chart. You can label it, but again, even if you didn't put the patient's name at the bottom, because it's in the chart, it's going to have the patient's name at the bottom of the chart. Now again, some people would probably feel more comfortable having the name written in the bottom. I personally don't feel that strongly about either one of them, but if you push Note Complete and you go back to the chart, you notice that in this patient's chart you now find the consent form completely filled out with their signature or their name. I actually didn't create a signature for them, but they would sign down here. Once you have it in the note, I just pushed on it. It won't allow you to sign now, so you have to do all these steps in the order that I showed them in order for them to work. But they work well. And so what I'm going to do is try to go back and open the programs that we had. Okay, so I've opened this up again, and you say, well, the good thing about Microsoft OneNote is that it never really deletes anything. You can delete something if you choose to by right-clicking on one of these notes. Like, for example, this doesn't have anything in it. Say I want to get rid of it. I can delete it by simply doing this, and it'll delete it. And it shows the next note in the list, which in this case is circumcision. But let's say we wanted to open I don't remember which one we were in, a consent form we wanted to set this as a template where we didn't have to keep erasing like I'm doing right now. there is a way to do that. I'm going to show you how to do it after I do the erasing. Well, let's just go ahead and put my name here so you know it'll be a new one. So what you do is, if you look, there's a little new page tab, and right next to it are some options, and you go down to more templates and choice options, and then down at the bottom or wherever it says you have the option of save current page as a template, and you can say template name, and again, if you open your little cursor pad, you could call it vasectomy. Alright, and it says set as a default template for new pages in this current section. So we'll click that and we'll say save. Alright, and we can close out all this now. And let's say I wanted a new page. I didn't want to have to do all the erasing. I just click new, and I've got 2 new pages now. And of course, since I was not smart enough to erase out my signature down here, or actually in this case it probably would be a good idea to have my signature down there since this is mine, it will save whatever you have initially put in this for every subsequent page that you click on for this section. Now let's say, for example, I go to circumcision and I want to do the same thing. I can do that by repeating the same step, and it would save this circumcision as a new note, set as a default. Oh, I've already created a template. We can go ahead and replace it. It's fine. And so every time that I wanted to do a new one of this one, I just click new. So let's say, for example, put me in here, and I'm going to get rid of this, and I'm going to get rid of this, and I wanted to have a new one now. I clicked a new one, and notice that the previous one had me on it, but this one does not. So again, this is just a useful tool, and you can do this with all of your templates if you choose to, or all of your consent forms, and that way you can save all the new ones and you don't ever have to really erase. And actually it'd probably be a good idea not to. Let's say, for example, you wanted to save all your consent forms for your personal records, although there may be some HIPAA issues with that, but you can also save any other documents by the same technique. You could say, if you wanted to save them as a PDF file, just like we did before, push print, go to PDF Creator, print it, and then it's going to open PDF Creator, and there it is. And you could just simply save it this way if you'd like to, or if you wanted to cut and paste it in something, or in a note. We already went over that. You just push this snapshot tool, highlight, and there you have it. It's copied. You can put it in a Word document if you want to. You can do whatever you want to with it. And just to show you that, I'll throw it in a Word document real quick. Like, you push down a little silver button to right click. I messed that up. I hit font instead. And there it is. Okay, so I'm going to close out of that. Now there's a whole lot more usability of Microsoft OneNote than what I'm going over here, and I don't mean to make like this is all you can do with the program. This is just a tool that you can use to get documents into a patient's chart. There's tools on Microsoft OneNote that make it very useful for meetings and so forth. There's a recorder tool that will record the meeting. And I'll let you discover all of those things by yourself. But really, this is a very good and useful tool once you learn some tricks with it, to be used for a number of things, not just what we use it for maps. So I hope this has been helpful. Again, you can contact me if you have any questions. I don't claim to be an expert on this particular program, but I can help you, get documents in the Add Note section of the PC Generic Aims form and some other things. So if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. Thank you.